The warm glow of the bathroom light cast a gentle haze over the steam rising from the sink. Alex sat on a chair, head tilted back over the edge of the basin, trying desperately to calm the rapid beating of his heart. It wasn't the awkward position causing his pulse to race, but rather the gentle pressure of Jamie's fingers massaging shampoo into his scalp. They had been friends for years, but lately, something had been shifting between them. Subtle glances held a moment too long, accidental touches that didn't feel so accidental anymore. This impromptu hair wash had started innocently enough. Alex had mentioned the difficulty of washing his hair with his sprained wrist, and Jamie had offered to help without hesitation. Now, with Jamie's fingers working through his hair, Alex wondered if this closeness was making it impossible to keep pretending that his feelings were purely platonic. "Is the water temperature okay?" Jamie asked, voice low and close to Alex's ear. The proximity sent a shiver down Alex's spine that had nothing to do with the water temperature. "It's perfect," Alex replied, trying to keep his voice steady. And it was perfect, not just the water, but this moment of innocent intimacy that felt both comfortable and electrifying. The familiar scent of his own shampoo mingled with Jamie's cologne, creating a new fragrance that Alex knew would forever remind him of this moment. Let me explain why this scene matters so much. In our everyday lives, we rarely acknowledge how these small moments of vulnerability can completely transform relationships. There's something profoundly intimate about allowing someone to care for you in such a personal way. It breaks down barriers that we might not even realize we've built. For Alex and Jamie, this hair wash represented more than just a friendly favor. It was a doorway to a new dimension of their relationship, one they had both been circling for months, perhaps even years. As Jamie's fingers worked through Alex's hair, a comfortable silence fell between them, broken only by the gentle splash of water and their steady breathing. Alex closed his eyes, allowing himself to enjoy the sensation. He couldn't help but wonder if Jamie could feel the tension too, that invisible current running between them that seemed to grow stronger with each passing day. Their friendship had always been easy, natural, but lately, there was an undercurrent of something more, something neither of them had been brave enough to name. "You know," Jamie said, breaking the silence, "I've never done this for anyone before." There was a hint of vulnerability in the admission that made Alex's heart skip a beat. "Not even for past partners?" Alex asked, immediately regretting the question. They rarely discussed their romantic lives with each other, as if by mutual agreement. Jamie's hands paused momentarily before continuing their gentle massage. "No, not even them. This feels different." The weight of those words hung in the air between them. Different how? Alex wanted to ask, but couldn't find the courage. Instead, he focused on the sensation of Jamie's fingers working through his hair, the gentle pressure against his scalp, the occasional brush of Jamie's wrist against his neck. Each touch felt deliberate, lingering just a moment longer than necessary. "Almost done," Jamie murmured, reaching for the handheld shower head to rinse away the shampoo. "Tilt your head back a bit more." Alex complied, feeling strangely vulnerable with his throat exposed, water cascading over his scalp and down into the basin. Jamie's free hand formed a barrier at his hairline, preventing water from running into his eyes, a small gesture of care that felt monumental in the moment. "There we go," Jamie said, turning off the water and reaching for a towel. "Sit up slowly." Alex did as instructed, feeling slightly dizzy. Though whether from the position or the intimacy of the moment, he couldn't be sure. Jamie stood before him, towel in hand, and for a brief moment, their eyes met. Something unspoken passed between them, a recognition of the tension that had been building for months. Jamie stepped forward, draping the towel over Alex's head and beginning to gently dry his hair. The gesture was so tender, so caring, that Alex felt his chest tighten with emotion. They were standing close now, closer than friends typically would, with Jamie's hands moving rhythmically through the towel-covered hair. "You're good at this," Alex said, his voice sounding strange to his own ears. Jamie smiled, a soft, private smile. "I'm good at taking care of people I care about." The words hung in the air between them, loaded with potential meaning. Alex's heart raced as he tried to decipher what Jamie might be implying. Were they still pretending this was just friendship? The boundaries felt increasingly blurred. And then it happened. A moment so simple, yet so profound that it would forever mark a before and after in their relationship. As Jamie finished drying Alex's hair and moved a step back, the towel slipped from his hands, falling to the floor between them. Both froze, looking down at the fallen towel, then back up at each other. Without the barrier between them, without the pretense of the hair wash to justify their closeness, they stood facing each other, the truth of their feelings suddenly impossible to ignore. Time seemed to stretch and compress simultaneously. The bathroom felt both expansive and impossibly small. Alex could hear his own heartbeat, could see the rapid rise and fall of Jamie's chest. They were still standing close, too close for friendship, not close enough for what they both seemed to want. A nervous laugh escaped Jamie's lips, breaking the tension. I should probably. Jamie gestured vaguely toward the towel on the floor. Yeah, Alex agreed, though neither of them moved. Instead, their eyes remained locked, 1,000 unspoken words passing between them. The pretense was crumbling, the careful walls they had built to contain their feelings collapsing under the weight of this moment. Alex, Jamie began, voice barely above a whisper. I think we need to talk about what's happening here. The directness of the statement sent a jolt through Alex. After months, years, really, of dancing around their feelings, of careful avoidance and plausible deniability, Jamie was finally acknowledging the elephant in the room. What do you think is happening? Alex asked, needing to hear Jamie say it first, needing that confirmation that this wasn't all in his imagination. Jamie took a deep breath, seeming to gather courage. I think we've been pretending for a long time that we're just friends, when we both know there's more to it than that. At least, there is for me. The admission hung in the air, fragile and momentous. Alex felt as though he were standing on the edge of a cliff, terrified and exhilarated by the prospect of jumping. There's more for me too, Alex admitted, the words coming out in a rush. I've been afraid to say anything because I didn't want to ruin our friendship. Jamie's expression softened, relief and joy mingling in those familiar eyes that Alex had looked into countless times before, but never quite like this. I've been afraid of the same thing, but I'm more afraid of never knowing what we could be. The honesty of the moment was overwhelming. After so long hiding their feelings, pretending they were content with friendship, the truth was finally out in the open. It was terrifying and liberating all at once. How long have you felt this way? Alex asked, genuinely curious about when their paths had diverged from simple friendship into something more complex. Jamie considered the question, head tilting slightly in that familiar way that Alex had always found endearing. I think I've always felt something special for you, but I realized it was more than friendship about a year ago. Remember that night we stayed up talking until sunrise? Alex nodded, the memory vivid in his mind. They had been sitting on Jamie's balcony, wrapped in blankets against the chill, sharing stories and dreams and fears. It had felt different somehow, deeper than their usual conversations. For me, it was the day you came to my sister's wedding, Alex confessed. Seeing you there, how easily you fit in with my family, how you remembered everyone's names and inside jokes. I couldn't stop thinking about what it would be like if you were there as more than my friend. Jamie's smile widened. I wanted to be. I almost told you that night, but you seemed so happy, and I was worried about complicating things. We've both been so careful, Alex observed, so afraid of ruining what we have that we might have missed out on something better. As they stood there in the bathroom, the fallen towel still on the floor between them, a new understanding bloomed. The fear of losing their friendship was real, but so was the possibility of gaining something extraordinary. The tension between them had transformed from awkward to electric, charged with possibility. So what happens now? Jamie asked, taking a small step closer, eliminating more of the space between them. Alex's breath caught. This was the moment of truth, the point of no return. Whatever happened next would forever change the dynamic between them. The thought was both terrifying and thrilling. Now, Alex said, finding courage in Jamie's vulnerability, we stop pretending. With those words, the last of their defenses fell away. Jamie reached out, hesitantly at first, and brushed a strand of damp hair from Alex's forehead. The touch was gentle, questioning, giving Alex every opportunity to pull away. Instead, Alex leaned into the touch, heart hammering against ribs. I've wanted to do that for so long, Jamie confessed, voice barely above a whisper. What else have you wanted to do? Alex asked, surprised by the boldness of the question. Jamie's eyes darkened slightly, gaze dropping briefly to Alex's lips before returning to meet his eyes. The unspoken answer hung between them, heavy with anticipation. Slowly, giving Alex plenty of time to back away, Jamie leaned forward. Their first kiss was gentle, hesitant, a question more than a statement. But when Alex responded, leaning into the kiss and bringing a hand up to rest on Jamie's shoulder, the hesitation melted away. The kiss deepened, years of unspoken feelings pouring into this one perfect moment. When they finally pulled apart, both slightly breathless, they shared a smile that contained equal parts disbelief and joy. The awkwardness that might have been expected after such a monumental shift was surprisingly absent. Instead, there was a sense of rightness, as if they had finally aligned with the truth that had been there all along. That was, Jamie began, seemingly at a loss for words. Worth waiting for, Alex finished, unable to stop smiling. They stood there for a moment longer, foreheads touching, breathing the same air, adjusting to this new reality where they no longer had to hide their feelings. The bathroom, with its warm light and lingering steam, had become the birthplace of something beautiful. We should probably move this conversation somewhere more comfortable, Jamie suggested eventually, gesturing to the cramped bathroom. Alex nodded, suddenly aware of how long they had been standing there. Good idea. Plus, my hair is almost dry now, so your services are no longer required, he teased, trying to inject some of their usual playfulness into this new dynamic. Jamie laughed, bending down to finally retrieve the fallen towel, the catalyst for their confessions. My services are always available to you, in whatever capacity you need, Jamie replied, the words playful but the underlying meaning sincere. As they moved from the bathroom to the living room, Alex marveled at how natural it felt to intertwine their fingers, to walk hand in hand through the apartment they had navigated as friends countless times before. The physical space was the same, but everything else had changed. They settled on the couch, angled toward each other, their hands still linked. There was so much to discuss, so many questions to answer. How would this change their friend group dynamics? Should they tell people right away or give themselves time to adjust first? What were their expectations, their hopes, their fears? I'm nervous, Alex admitted, squeezing Jamie's hand. Not about us, that feels right, but about everything else. What if this doesn't work out? What if we lose everything we've built? Jamie considered this, thumb tracing gentle patterns on Alex's palm. That's a valid fear. I'm scared too, but I think we have a solid foundation. We already know each other so well. The good, the bad, the ugly. We're not starting from scratch. This was true. They had years of history, of inside jokes and shared experiences, of supporting each other through difficult times and celebrating victories together. They had seen each other at their worst and their best. In many ways, they had already built the hardest parts of a relationship: trust, communication, mutual respect. Plus, Jamie continued, I think we both care enough to work through the challenges. Relationships take effort, whether they're friendships or something more. We've already proven we're willing to put in that effort. Alex nodded, feeling reassured. You're right. And maybe it's better this way, starting as friends, I mean. We already know we enjoy spending time together. We're not blinded by infatuation or physical attraction. Jamie raised an eyebrow, looking amused. Speak for yourself. I've been very much distracted by physical attraction. The comment made Alex laugh, a warm blush spreading across his cheeks. Fair point, but you know what I mean. We have substance already. The other stuff is just bonus. Very nice bonus, Jamie murmured, leaning in for another kiss. This one more confident than the first. When they separated, Alex felt dizzy with happiness. It seemed impossible that just an hour ago they had been maintaining the pretense of friendship, and now they were here, openly acknowledging their feelings, kissing on the couch like they'd been doing it for years. So we're really doing this? Alex asked, needing the verbal confirmation. Jamie nodded, expression serious despite the smile playing at the corners of their mouth. We're really doing this. No more pretending. Just us, figuring it out together. The simplicity of the statement belied the complexity of what lay ahead. There would be adjustments, misunderstandings, moments of doubt. They would need to learn how to be partners as well as friends, how to navigate disagreements with this new dynamic, how to balance independence with togetherness. But as they sat there on the couch, planning their first official date, discussing how and when to tell their friends, laughing about how obvious their feelings must have been to everyone else. Alex felt a profound sense of peace. The risk of losing their friendship was still real, but the potential reward, a deep, meaningful relationship built on years of genuine connection, was worth it. In the weeks that followed, they discovered new dimensions to their relationship. Physical intimacy came naturally, built on the emotional intimacy they already shared. They found that their communication, already strong from years of friendship, served them well as they navigated minor disagreements and established boundaries. Their friends, when finally told, were mostly unsurprised, many admitting they had been waiting for this development for years. There were challenges, of course. They had to learn when to give each other space, how to balance time with other friends, how to shift from the habits of friendship to the habits of partnership. There were moments of insecurity, times when one or both questioned whether they had made the right decision. But then there would be moments, like Jamie absently reaching for Alex's hand while watching TV, or Alex knowing exactly how to comfort Jamie after a difficult day at work, that confirmed they were exactly where they were meant to be. The foundation of friendship gave their romantic relationship a depth and stability that felt rare and precious. 6 months after the fallen towel incident, as they had come to call it, they were having dinner at their favorite restaurant, celebrating half a year together. The conversation flowed easily, as it always had, but now interspersed with terms of endearment, with casual touches, with the unspoken understanding of two people who had chosen each other. "Do you ever think about how different things would be if I hadn't dropped that towel?" Jamie asked, taking a sip of wine. Alex considered this, thinking back to that pivotal moment. "I think we would have found our way here eventually. The feelings were already there. But I'm glad it happened when it did. I'm glad we didn't waste any more time pretending." Jamie reached across the table, taking Alex's hand. "Me too. Although I have to admit, I dropped that towel on purpose." Alex's eyes widened in surprise. "You did not." Jamie laughed, the sound as familiar and beloved as ever. "I didn't. But wouldn't that make a better story? That I orchestrated the whole thing, hair wash and all, as an elaborate scheme to finally confess my feelings." "Our actual story is pretty good," Alex pointed out. "Friends for years, secretly pining, an intimate moment that breaks down the walls between us. It's practically a romance novel." "True," Jamie agreed. "And the best part is, it's real. It's us." As they finished their meal and walked home hand in hand under a sky full of stars, Alex reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From strangers to friends to something more. Each transition building on what came before, creating something stronger and more beautiful than either could have imagined. The apartment they now shared still had that bathroom where it all began, and sometimes, when Jamie helped wash Alex's hair, a ritual that had become a tender tradition between them, they would remember that moment when the towel fell and they stopped pretending. Not every relationship had such a clear demarcation point, such an obvious before and after, but theirs did, and they were grateful for it. That night, as they lay together in the quiet darkness of their bedroom, Jamie whispered, "I never thought I could be this happy." Alex turned, finding Jamie's face in the dim light filtering through the curtains. "Me neither. I was so afraid of ruining our friendship that I almost missed out on the love of my life." The words were new. They hadn't used love before, but they felt right, felt true. Jamie's smile confirmed it, as did the gentle kiss that followed. "The love of your life, huh?" Jamie repeated, voice soft with wonder. "Absolutely," Alex confirmed. "Best friend and partner all in one. How did I get so lucky?" As they drifted toward sleep, wrapped in each other's arms, Alex thought about all the moments that had led them here. Every conversation, every shared experience, every laugh and tear and quiet understanding. The hair wash and the fallen towel might have been the catalyst, but their love had been building long before that, foundation laid brick by brick over years of friendship. In the end, the greatest gift wasn't that they had found love, but that they had found it with someone who already knew them completely and loved them anyway. They had stopped pretending, stopped hiding, stopped settling for less than what they truly wanted. And in doing so, they had discovered that sometimes, the greatest love stories don't begin with love at first sight, but with friendship, patience, and the courage to be honest about what's in your heart. As they fell asleep together, both knew that whatever challenges tomorrow might bring, they would face them as they had faced everything else, together, with honesty, with humor, and with the unshakable foundation of a friendship that had blossomed into something even more beautiful than either of them had dared to dream. Total _char_count, 18,845.